I never thought silence could hurt so much. But that night, standing outside my son's bedroom door, I learned that some words cut deeper than any blade ever could. I wasn't eavesdropping. I want you to understand that. I had just come upstairs to ask if they wanted tea. My hand was raised, ready to knock, when I heard her voice. Honia. My daughter-in-law. Adil, we need to talk about your mother. I froze. Something in her tone made my heart tighten. What about Amy? My son asked, his voice tired. She's getting too old. Too difficult. I can't keep doing this. The air left my lungs. What do you mean? Adil sounded confused. I mean, she's always here. Always needing something. I have to watch her, make sure she doesn't fall, help her with everything. It's exhausting, Adil. I'm exhausted. I pressed my hand against the wall to steady myself. She's my mother, Honia. I know. And I respect that. But think about it. Wouldn't she be happier somewhere with professionals? People trained to take care of elderly people? We could visit her. She'd have company her own age. You want to send her to a home? There was a pause. A long, terrible pause. I'm just saying, we deserve to live our own life too. I didn't wait to hear more. I walked back to my room on trembling legs, closed the door, and sat on the edge of my bed in the dark. Too old. Too difficult. Too much work. Is that what I had become? I stared at my hands, these hands that had worked for decades, that had cooked thousands of meals, that had held my son when he was born, that had sewn his school uniforms by lamplight because we couldn't afford to buy them. These hands that had built this home, brick by brick, sacrifice by sacrifice. And now I was a burden. I didn't cry that night. I think I was too shocked to cry. I just sat there, replaying her words over and over, wondering when I had stopped being a person and become a problem to solve. The next morning, I woke up and made breakfast like always. Parathas, chai, omelette with green chilies, Adil's favorite. Honia came down first, her face bright and cheerful. Good morning, Amy, she said sweetly, kissing my cheek. I smiled. I forced myself to smile. Good morning, beta. She sat at the table, scrolling through her phone, humming softly. I watched her, this woman I had welcomed into my home with open arms, this woman I had tried so hard to love like my own daughter. Did she know I had heard? Did she care? Adil came down a few minutes later, rushing as always. Amy, you didn't have to make all this, he said, but he was already reaching for a paratha. It's no trouble, I said quietly. He kissed my forehead. You're the best, Amy. And yet, last night, he didn't defend me. I poured his tea and sat down across from them, watching them eat, watching them laugh at something on Honia's phone. I felt invisible, like a shadow in my own home. After they left for work, I stood in the kitchen, staring at the dirty dishes. I used to love this kitchen. I used to feel powerful here, like a queen in her kingdom. Now it just felt empty. I thought about my life. How did I get here? How did I go from the woman who raised a son alone, who fought the world to give him everything, to this silent ghost haunting the corners of her own house? I closed my eyes and let myself remember. I was 23 when my husband died. 23, with a 2-year-old son and no idea how I was going to survive. Everyone told me to go back to my parents, to let them take care of me. But I couldn't. My father was sick, my mother already burdened. I couldn't add to their pain. So I stayed. In this house. In this city. I took a job at a school, teaching young children. The pay was terrible, but it was something. I worked during the day, and at night, I sewed clothes for neighbors. Dupattas, kameez, baby clothes, anything they needed. I remember those nights so clearly. Adil asleep on a mat beside me, my fingers aching from the needle, my eyes burning from exhaustion. But I never complained. Because every stitch I sewed was for him. Every rupee I earned was for his future. When Adil got into a good school, I cried for an hour. Not from sadness, from relief, from pride. I worked even harder. I took on more students, more sewing projects. I missed weddings. I missed family gatherings. I missed sleep. But I never missed a parent-teacher meeting. I never missed his school play. I never missed a single moment of his life that mattered. I watched him grow. Watched him become smart, kind, ambitious. He was everything I had hoped for. When he graduated from university, when he got his first job, when he bought me flowers with his first paycheck, I felt like every sacrifice had been worth it. "Amy," he said that day, his eyes shining, "I'm going to take care of you now. You'll never have to work again." And he kept that promise. For a while. When Adil told me he wanted to marry Honia, I was happy for him. She was beautiful, educated, confident. Everything a modern woman should be. I welcomed her into our home with open arms. I taught her family recipes. I gave her my jewelry. I treated her like the daughter I never had. At first, everything was perfect. She called me Amy. She smiled at me. She sat with me in the evenings. But slowly, things changed. Little things at first. She stopped asking my opinion about meals. She rearranged the kitchen without telling me. She started making decisions about the house as if I wasn't there. I told myself it was normal. She was the new wife. She wanted to feel like the woman of the house. I stepped back. I gave her space. But the space kept growing. She stopped sitting with me. She stopped smiling. And Adil was so busy with work, so eager to make her happy, that he didn't notice. Or maybe he did, and just didn't know what to do. I became quieter. Smaller. I stayed in my room more. I stopped offering advice. I stopped asking questions. I convinced myself I was being respectful. But really, I was disappearing. And last night, I realized. No one even noticed. 3 days passed after I overheard that conversation. Adil didn't mention it. Honia acted normal. I started wondering if I had imagined it. But then, one evening, Adil came to my room. "Amy, can we talk?" My heart sank. He sat beside me on the bed, fidgeting with his hands. "Amy, I've been thinking." I waited. "You know we love you, right?" I nodded, even though his words felt rehearsed. "And we want what's best for you." There it was. The line Honia had fed him. "Honia and I were talking, and we think maybe it would be good for you to have more company. People your own age. Activities. Professional care." "Professional care?" I repeated softly. "There's a really nice facility nearby. It's beautiful, Amy. They have gardens, a library, organized trips. You'd have friends. You wouldn't be alone all day while we're at work." I stared at him. My son. My boy. The child I had given my entire life to. And he was asking me to leave. "Is this what you want?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He looked down. "I think it's what's best. For me. Or for Honia." His silence was the answer. I took a breath. "If that's what you want, Adil, then I'll go." His head snapped up. "Amy, don't say it like that." "It's fine," I said, forcing a smile. "If you think I'll be happier there, then I'll go." He looked relieved. Guilty, but relieved. That hurt more than anything. The next week passed in a blur. Honia was suddenly very attentive. She helped me pack, chattering brightly about how wonderful the facility was. "You're going to love it, Amy. They have activities every day. Movie nights, book clubs, even yoga classes." I nodded and smiled, folding my old sorries carefully. Adil avoided me. He was always at work, always busy. I think he couldn't face me. On my last night in the house, I walked through every room. I touched the walls I had painted, the curtains I had sewn, the furniture I had saved for months to buy. I stood in the kitchen for a long time, remembering all the meals I had cooked here. All the birthdays, the Eids, the quiet Sunday mornings. This house wasn't just a building. It was my life. And now, I was leaving it behind. The morning they took me to the facility, it was raining. Soft, steady rain that blurred the world outside the car window. Adil drove. Honia sat beside him. I sat in the back, my small suitcase beside me. No one spoke. When we arrived, Honia was the first to get out. "Oh, Ami, look how beautiful it is." It was beautiful. Modern, clean, surrounded by gardens. But it wasn't home. A cheerful woman in a blue uniform greeted us. "You must be Mrs. Sophia. Welcome, welcome. Let me show you to your room." Adil carried my suitcase. Honia held my arm, guiding me like I was fragile. Maybe I was. My room was small but comfortable. A bed, a chair, a window overlooking the garden. "See, Ami," Honia said brightly. "It's lovely." I nodded. Adil set down my suitcase and stood awkwardly by the door. "We'll visit soon, Ami. I promise." I smiled. "Of course." Honia hugged me. "We'll call you every day." "Thank you, Beta." And then they left. I stood at the window and watched their car pull away. And finally, I let myself cry. The days at the facility blended together. I attended the activities. I smiled at the other residents. I ate the meals they served. But inside, I felt hollow. I called Adil every few days. He always sounded rushed. "How are you, Ami?" "I'm fine, Beta." "How are you?" "Busy. Work is crazy. I'll visit soon." But he never did. Honia stopped answering my calls altogether. I told myself they were just busy, that they had their own lives. But late at night, lying in that unfamiliar bed, I couldn't help but wonder, had I been that easy to forget? Then, everything changed. It was a Tuesday morning when Adil called. Not his usual rushed, distracted call. His voice was shaking. "Ami, something's happened." My heart stopped. "What? What is it?" "It's Honia. She's in the hospital." The world tilted. "What happened?" "She collapsed yesterday. We thought it was just stress, but the doctors ran tests." "Ami, it's serious. She has a condition, her heart. She needs surgery, and even after that, she'll need full-time care. Maybe for months." I sat down slowly. Is she going to be okay?" "They think so, but Ami, I don't know what to do. I can't take time off work, and she needs someone with her constantly. The doctors said she can't be alone." I closed my eyes. Honia. The woman who pushed me out of my own home. The woman who called me a burden. Now she was the one who needed help. "Ami, are you there?" "I'm here, Beta." I don't know who else to call." He didn't have to say it. He needed me. I took a taxi to the hospital the next morning. Adil was in the waiting room, his face pale and exhausted. When he saw me, he broke. He stood and walked toward me, and suddenly he wasn't a 30-year-old man anymore. He was my little boy. "Ami, I'm so sorry," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I'm so sorry for everything." I held him while he cried. "Sure, Beta. It's okay." "It's not okay. I sent you away. I listened to her instead of listening to my heart. I abandoned you. You didn't abandon me. I did. And I'll never forgive myself." I pulled back and looked at him. "Adil, listen to me. You made a mistake. But you're my son. And I forgive you." He wiped his eyes. "I don't deserve." Forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about love. He hugged me again, tighter this time. When I walked into Honia's hospital room, she looked so small. This confident, strong woman, reduced to a fragile figure in a hospital bed. She looked up when I entered, and her eyes filled with tears. Amy. I sat beside her bed. How are you feeling, Beta? She shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I took her hand. I know. I was terrible to you. I said horrible things. I made a deal send you away. I was selfish and cruel, and now I'm the burden. You're not a burden, Honia. Yes, I am. And I deserve it. I deserve to feel what you felt. I squeezed her hand. No one deserves to feel that way. She cried harder. And I realized something. She wasn't a villain. She was just human. Flawed. Scared. Selfish at times. Just like all of us. Honia came home 2 weeks later. I came with her. Not as a guest. Not as someone pushed aside. But as family. I helped her with her medicine. I made her meals. I sat with her when she was scared. Adil watched me with quiet awe. Amy, after everything she did, how can you be so kind? I smiled. Because holding on to anger would only hurt me, Beta. Not her. But don't you hate her? No. I feel sorry for her. Sorry. She was so afraid of losing control, of not being enough, that she pushed away the one person who only wanted to help her. He was quiet for a long time. You're stronger than both of us, Amy. No. Beta. I'm just tired of being anything else. Slowly, the house began to heal. Honia grew stronger, but more than that, she grew softer. She started asking my advice again. She sat with me in the evenings. She learned to make my recipes, not to replace me, but to honor me. One day, she came to me while I was folding laundry. Amy, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you come back? After everything I did. I looked at her. Because you're my family, Honia. And family doesn't give up on each other. She started crying. I don't deserve you. Maybe not. But you have me anyway. She hugged me, and this time, it wasn't for show. It was real. Months passed. The house felt different now. Warmer. Fuller. Adil was more present. Honia was more grateful. And me. I was no longer invisible. One evening, we all sat together after dinner. Adil poured tea. Honia brought out biscuits. We talked and laughed like a real family. And I realized something. I had spent so long trying to hold on, to my role, my place, my importance. But real strength wasn't in holding on. It was in letting go. Letting go of hurt. Letting go of pride. Letting go of the need to be needed. Because love isn't about what you get. It's about what you give, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I'm older now. My hands shake more. I move slower. But I'm not a burden. I'm a mother. A mother-in-law. A woman who survived. And when I look around this home, my home, I see something I didn't see before. Not walls. Not furniture. I see forgiveness. I see second chances. I see love. And that, in the end, is all that matters. Because the silent goodbye I once feared became the beginning of something far more beautiful. A family that learned to see each other. A family that learned to heal. And a woman who learned that her worth was never in how much she was needed, but in how deeply she chose to love. Even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt.